What's up, guys? Nate Bedrosky from Narrowway Homestead. I've got a neighbor with me and we're going to discuss solar. He's on the grid, I'm off the grid. However, solar around here seems really beneficial for people on the grid too, and I want to discuss with him a couple different options for getting solar. So there's a couple options for solar, and I'm pretty sure I already know the answer, but we could set you up with a conventional, kind of an old school system, but there's a bunch involved. You got to do a charge controller and size your cables for your batteries and all that stuff. And I'm kind of thinking you're probably not wanting to be that involved.
Yeah, I don't know anything about all that. I'm just taking your word for it.
All right. So I have been telling him a whole bunch about this Jackery Essential Home Backup System. This is the Jackery Explorer 5000 Plus, the smart transfer switch, and he's already eyeballing my very temporary wiring, which I'm semi-ashamed of, but I will absolutely be
If that's
making...
all the wire you're going to need. I'm into that sort of thing.
Well, really, that's actually not going to be a whole lot more. So you know what a panel box is?
Yeah.
This is just a smart panel box. There's a couple different ways you can set this up. I'm going to set this up as a primary panel and run sub panels off of it. And I'll be able to control different sub panels with just the power either from here or there or the grid. It's a little confusing because my grid is not a grid. It's just another solar power system.
So your power runs into that and then down to that.
So yeah, basically what happens is I'm bringing power in on one of these and it's going here and it's directly powering the whole garage right now. And it will eventually power the whole homestead. So that would, for you, be your grid power. If you lose power, then this thing will take over and power everything on here, or it'll power just select circuits you want.
Well, that's nice.
It is nice. And then there's an app that you can control from your phone and you can adjust all that stuff. But the thing that I don't have hooked up here right now is solar panels. It has a spot where you can plug in any high PV solar panels you want, which is what you think of as the big household panels that you put on your roof. That would allow you to actually charge this, not off of the grid, rather off of just panels itself. And then you can choose certain parameters. So let's say you want to always save 40% of your system as backup for when you have a power outage, but you want to save money on your electric bill. You could have it use that top 60%. Whenever it gets fully charged off of solar, it could switch to the solar and just run off of this until it gets down to 40% and then kick back over to the grid, allowing your solar to charge it up again. And you can set that number whatever you want, 40, 60, 20, 80.
So somebody like me who's already on the grid, I can power everything I got going on with what you got going here.
Yeah, with your setup for sure. This is basically a 100 amp service. And as you know, most houses now have 200 amp service.
Yeah.
So their essential home backup will basically just power your essentials in your house is what they go on. But they have a whole home backup system, which I don't have here, that provides 200 amp service. So it's bigger and more capable and definitely an option. This is a more budget friendly option and it's portable. So you can unplug these wires from it and take it down to your lower 40 acres or whatever and power anything directly off of it.
Oh, that's nice.
So it is essentially a portable unit. I mean, I'd put it in a truck because it's like 120 pounds or so. But moving it around here has been real easy. I roll it over to the garage door sometimes to get it to, it's got a handle and wheels, and I just put it over there sometimes to temporarily charge it.
So for 200 amps, it's a replacement for this or in addition to that?
So for the 200 amps, it's a whole different Jackery system, and it's something that's fixed to the wall, and it's strictly just home backup as opposed to the Essential, which powers important circuits for you at the same time remaining portable to be more versatile for something else. And I don't know which system would be more ideal to you if you don't need the portability option and you want it to be able to handle the surge of everything.
Yeah, I have to talk to the boss about that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then if this isn't enough capacity, unlike traditional solar power system, if you bought this initial setup with this, which is 5 kilowatt hours, and then this battery, which has another 5 kilowatt hours, you can stack more of these and get more capacity. So if you're not getting enough time running everything you think you need, you'll be able to just power more for longer. It just depends how long the power outages are.
Which I have plenty. I think I lose my power about 6 times a year, but you wouldn't know anything about that.
No, back here I wouldn't know a whole lot about that. Now, if it gets cloudy, I do start cutting back on some things I run, but different ball game for sure. But yeah, if you lose power, and you can set this up to automatically switch or not. And the other thing you can do in their app is set it up so that you can charge this off of the grid. Let's say you lost power, this is low, and then you've got cloudy days the next few days, and you're just like, I just really want this. You can actually charge this directly off the grid.
Charge that right off the grid, huh?
You sure can.
So is there some mathematical thing about how many panels I would use for, say, 100 amps?
There is. My personal preference is the more panels you can possibly fit, the better. But it's just, I'm power hungry, so.
Well, it doesn't really matter how many you use then, as long as it's the way you wire them in, or?
Yeah, you can put up to 15 amps of panels to this, or and you can wire it up to 450 volts. So you can put a bunch of them in strings. The other thing you can do is, you can see I've got 2 plugs here. So you can probably get the panels I haven't fully figured it out, but you could probably get about 16 of them. If that's not enough, you can add a second unit just like this, plug it in here, and they'll work together. And then you can plug more solar panels in that one. So say the number is 16, pushes you up to 32. And if you need more than that, their whole home backup is just kind of a similar system. It's just not portable and more capable for more power. But this is a more budget-friendly option and portable option.
Yeah, I could teach myself this a lot faster than I could teach myself that one outside there.
Yeah, really the main thing, and they recommend that you use a electrician to do it, is to install the panel. And in your case, I know a little bit about your setup. I would probably set this up in your garage and then run sub panels off of it the same exact way I'm going to do it. The other thing you can do, which probably most people would be doing, is put it in their house and have the most important circuits run into this panel and feed this off your main panel. And then this would provide, whenever it happens, only these circuits are going to be backed up. But you can also choose just certain ones in here too. It's very customizable in the app.
So when I'm not using this system and I'm off on the grid out there, it doesn't affect them being, what is it, run through this and then out to my things, or?
Yeah, no, the power comes into this, and then it's just like a regular breaker box. The only difference is it will be choosing whether it pulls power from here to there or the grid.
Oh, okay.
But you can absolutely, like right now I have it set up, so it's running off of grid power right now. It doesn't know anything about this being here. But if I were, I just had a power outage out there.
Yeah.
And now we're running off of this. And you can see on the display here, it'll also show in the app, looks like we're pulling about 360 watts. Since we're down to 47%, we're at about 10 hours of runtime at that current amount. But I've also got
I guess my question is, my stuff stays plugged into that box. It's not plugged into my other panel. It's just,
unless
it runs right out of here.
That's right, unless you feed another panel off of this as a sub panel. So that panel box over there is a sub panel from this. So it's on this 100 amp breaker here.
So what I would do is cut into my wire system, run it through here, and then over to my panel.
Yeah, you could definitely do that. It would
actually be from the panel to here and then over to my appliance.
That would be the preferred way.
Yeah.
I'm doing it the other way, and I mostly just want to actually control sub panels and only power certain sub panels when I have a outage. Ideally, you would have your main panel with all your circuits in it, but you have a refrigerator, a freezer, any medical device, anything that has to keep running, maybe your internet. You would then put those wires directly into here, and then when you lose power, you'll lose certain things like your washer and dryer over there, which you don't want necessarily pulling all your backup power anyway. But the very important things will switch over, just like you saw when I hit the switch.
And this won't feed back into the panel?
No. And then when your power is restored, it'll switch back over for you after I make sure it's good. Grid light came on, and now we don't really know anything much different. And I can configure it in the app here. So right now in their app, they've got this cool thing. You can see I'm using 416 watts from the grid, and that's powering directly to the home. It's kind of cool how they show the animation and everything. Nice. And then if there's a power outage, the lights flicker incrementally. Take it a second to upload. You can also have it tell you. You can bring up an alert on your phone if you want, that it can tell you that the power's out, because how are you supposed to know if the power's out? And now, is pulling the power from the Jackery. Now you can see we're pulling 418 watts, about the same as what we were pulling before, but nothing's coming from the grid.
Nice.
So power's out, but the lights are still on, and the only way you really know is if you either look at this or you tell your phone to let you know, hey, the power's out. That way you know if you have to do anything or not. Actually, I'm going to change the setting just before, because I don't have it set to charge off the grid.
If that was to happen, can you set a notification in the app so that it notifies you
Absolutely.
that it's not doing that?
Yeah, it'll tell you when the power goes out on your phone.
Okay. So
Yep.
if you were asleep, we could get it to send you a notification and hopefully wake you up.
That's right.
That's cool.
But in theory, you don't need to know, because on the grid, the power company should be restoring power.
For sure. Welcome to West Virginia.
There's all these different modes. You'll set all this one time and then probably forget about it. You got working mode and backup only mode. This is where you can set it up to save 22% for a power outage, but it will choose to power off of here that whole 78%. So if it's fully charged from the sunshine, it will just start using that, saving you money on your power bill, and it'll do all this stuff automatically while you're not thinking about it. And you can adjust that number.
Yeah,
whatever.
but I got enough to think about already.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is you can see each individual circuit. You can see I have 1 and 3 bound together here. So you can also see, grid or not, it will tell you how much power is being used on each circuit. So you can see the history of everything, what it's been pulling. So if you have a refrigerator going bad that pulls 800 watts all the time when it's supposed to pull 300,
right?
you can find out, hey, what's pulling so much power? And then you can also set it up for a charging discharging plan. If you have different energy rates at different times, you can tell it to use this at certain times. So if you have a peak usage rate, if you live somewhere, you can have it be using this when the electricity from the grid's most expensive for you. So we have a power outage, and now the power has been restored. And if it was happening automatically, I wouldn't have to touch this. It would just be doing all this automatically. You can run 240 off of this if you really want to run your dryer or something else, particularly your water pump. That's the thing I would want to be able to run, because my water pump's 240, and a water pump, it to me is an essential load that I need to always run.
I got one of those.
Now, you'll notice something really crazy happening. We're only using 600 watts, but we're bringing in over 3,000 watts. So what I did in this app was set this to charge off of the grid. So if after a power outage, if you really want this thing to get to full because you're afraid power is going to go out again soon because it's crazy and windy and stormy, you can have this thing. And this thing will fully charge itself from 47% at this rate in 1.9 hours. So under 2 hours, this thing will go from 47% to completely fully charged.
And that's on how many panels?
Well, that's not on any panels. That's charging off of the grid. The way I have it normally set up is to not do that, but I don't have any panels connected to it yet. Once I mount these panels on the roof, some of the panels I have are going to be dedicated to this unit. So I'm going to essentially have 2 solar off-grid systems, and this will be a backup to my other.
So you're charging off the grid?
I am, although the grid right now, in this case, is my other system.
Oh, okay. Now I get it.
There you go, if that makes sense. Yep.
Yeah, makes sense now.
As far as this thing knows, it is being charged from the grid. And so that's how it would work at your house. Now you can decide if it's going to be sunny that you'd want it to charge off solar and never charge off of the grid. So you just go into the app and tell it, never charge off of the grid.
Or you can have it turn on at some point when it gets low and charge off the grid.
Yeah, and that's what I have it set at right now, is when it gets low to charge off of the grid.
So that one there is in addition to this, or back up to it, or?
Yeah, what this does is just a battery pack. So it's this thing without the electronics, just battery. So this gives you 5 kilowatt hours of backup power. Adding this gives you 10. And then you can add another one to it, and that'll give you another 5 for a total of 15.
Nice.
You can go all the way up to 60 kilowatt hours, I believe. And then if you decide you need more, you buy a second one of these, plug it in here, and then you can do the whole same thing on the other side. This gives you 7,200 watts of continuous pure sine wave power. And if you add another one, it would double that. So you could really run a lot for if you fully maxed out all this. And you can just buy this, and this to start with. And as you decide you need more, or you decide you have a little more money to throw at it, you can just continue to buy more battery packs to increase. So you can build your system slowly, whereas the conventional solar like I'm building, it's very difficult to build slowly because you don't want to add old batteries to new batteries. Yeah. The only thing is to just keep it somewhere that is going to stay above freezing. Ideally, it won't hurt it, but if it's above freezing, it'll keep charging as normal. It just can't charge these batteries if it happens to be below 32 degrees. And it has a safety thing that'll make sure it doesn't charge unless it's safe to do so.
Well, I think that's all my questions.
My neighbor's been wanting to check out this system for a while. He's seen my other videos on the Jackery 5000 system, but it's not quite the same as being hands-on with it and in person, and hopefully the conversation between the two of us has helped you guys understand what exactly it is this can do. Also wanted to highlight the whole home backup system versus the essential home backup system from Jackery. This is designed more to just power the essential loads in a power outage, whereas their whole home system is designed to cover everything you want to run in your house. One of the advantages of this system is it is a portable option. You can take this somewhere if you need power somewhere else. There's some more features on this system. You can see I'm still under the construction phase in here. I'm going to be hooking solar panels to this, and I'm going to have something different besides a 15 amp circuit as the quote grid power, because that causes some limitations for me. It's really handy to have as a temporary setup while I'm in construction phase, and I can still actually use it and use it for power in the garage. And for now, because it's portable, when it's low on power, I can roll it over here and hook it up to Jackery's portable panels and charge it up that way. If you want to know more, check out Jackery.com or the links in the description below. There's all kinds of information about these systems. You can read more about it as opposed to just listening to it in a video. If you have questions, they're pretty good at answering them. If you want to leave me a question in the comments below, I will do my best to get to it and get you guys an answer. Thanks for watching.
With the beard and the vision, he narrates his life. Cutting firewood, draining beasts away from city strife. The ducks they roam freely, a quiet army true. Muscovies in the meadow, foraging in the dew. Lord, minion, small but